Hey everyone, the patch just went live for the new nerfs. I'm a big fan of these nerfs. And on chat, if you've watched the stream regularly, I'm always saying I hate the nerfs. So when I say I'm a big fan of them, you know they're good. I think they're just really good changes. I think they're all reasonable. Big fan. So anyways, let's get right to it. We've got Keeper the Strength from 4 to 5 mana. This card was way too absurd at 4 mana compared to the Shadow Flame that in old Warlock was, which is like this, but didn't give +2/+2 and destroyed the minion. That's all play. Like, this was one of these cards that makes every minion a threat. This card is too strong. It'll probably still be really good at 5 mana, especially because it can discount that 10 mana card. But that being said, this card needs a nerf. Who knows if it gets nerfed again. Mana changes do matter a lot. This does make it a lot more awkward. It does make it a lot more awkward if you're behind on board. That being said, it's still really good. Prismatic Beam, another card that this is punishing you for having cards on board, and it's just really good right now, especially with the Showdown card. I feel like Showdown is a really hard card to nerf. This card just didn't make sense. So I think this nerf makes a lot of sense. A good nerf overall. I think this deck will still see play. But this is just a little less punishing to have minions on board. So the Dragons of Splish Splash Whelp got nerfed. This card, we could say Wild Growth sees play that doesn't have a dragon and that doesn't have a body, and that is 1 mana more. So you can see that it was absolutely a busted card on 2 mana for a 2/1. So having a little less stats, making it a little less effective, I think totally fine. Same thing with the Desert Namatron. Lowering its health makes it a little easier to be traded into, a 4/4. So it value trades a little bit worse. This card also just, it's a free 4/4, 3/5. So now it's a free 3/4. So in the Dragon deck, so a little less efficient, totally reasonable nerf. Next is Staff of the Nine Frogs. Obviously this card in the Highlander Shaman is absurd. But that being said, I don't think Highlander Shaman is that strong. So I'm not really sure how I feel about this one. But that being said, I think what's reasonable about this is it means less damage from hand, but more like the inevitable board pressure, but less like burn down on the face. So, I'm not sure how I feel about this one, but, Highlander Shaman, I don't think is that good. Other decks beat it. But that being said, obviously this card's absurd. So this is the only one I'm really kind of on the fence. Arcane Worm, lowering it to a 1/1. I'm not sure about this one. I was kind of surprised on this one. This card's been around a while. I guess they just think it's being run in every deck. So a little surprised on that. I think they're maybe wanting to just preemptively nerf Mage. Not sure on this one. The card will still be good at 1/1, but it's certainly better at 1/2. So And then Pyrotechnician getting banned temporarily. I enjoyed the Fire Druid. You saw the stream. I didn't post a YouTube video for it, but I played a lot of it. It's a lot of fun, but I think they don't want this deck to terrorize the ladder if it gets too good, so they're taking it out. Understandable. It's kind of philosophically they don't like people just doing these sort of play a million cards, but that being said, this deck is fun, so I'm kind of sad to see it go. Now let's talk about the cards going up in power. We've got Elise, Badlands Savior, making them 5/5s. This card was utterly trash before. I'm pretty sure it's going to be utterly trash now. This card was so utterly trash before that you didn't even run it in Highlander Priest. Highlander Priests were cutting it. So I'd like to see it go down to 7 mana. I just think it's not good enough. So we'll see if it sees play now at 8. But this card didn't really make the cut before, so I'm doubting it makes the cut now. But you never know. So, obviously it is an improvement. So maybe it's on the margin now. But that being said, to Pit the Potent, a card already seeing play. If you watch my recent Naga Priest video I put out yesterday, this card was already kind of decent at this. This is a huge buff, and I think it will make this is actually a huge difference. Being able to coin this out on turn 2 as opposed to waiting turn 4 is just massive. So massive buff. This is probably the biggest buff I've seen so far. Next, we've got Invasive Shade Leaf. I think this is a deal. The deal for 8 was just not really that efficient in the priest. You know, when you have light that burns, this card was not very good. So I think up getting to 10 damage, so you get to use it twice, a little bit better, totally reasonable. Rodden getting taunt, even though this is Mimi, I think this is a huge difference, and this probably matters with Elise as well. That the fact that you can get Rodden and then your opponent has to get through it, because the problem is if you have to play it and your opponent just ignores it and kills you, and you have to trade it off, or they have low cost things and you can't kill it. Having taunt makes a massive difference. So you know, the people kind of forgot about this archetype and gave up on it, but this taunt can put this idea back on the map. So it's something that we should be trying. Now maybe it sinks, maybe it doesn't, but I think just having the taunt makes a massive difference for this card. So next we've got the Erzai Scorpion. Get 4 random spells. They cost 1 less for each time you've excavated this game, but not less than 1. They didn't want things to go to 0 because people complained about that, which I think the big negative of this is there's lots of 0 and 1 mana cards that are not going to benefit from this. But that being said, I really like this design idea of like, okay, the first one they're 4 discounted, or if you play it at 6, it gets 6 for each one. I think it's a really good choice. Just the card feels so much better than like, oh, the second time it does. I really like this change. Really great idea, really great change. Yeah, I'm a really big fan. So I think real cool. Next we've got Belarak Windblade. When this card's in your hand, play a card from another class to reveal Velar's true form. And then let me see, the oldest will play 3 cards. So yeah, you can see it was very difficult to kind of get that down. So now it's a little easier. Some of these things that they think, oh, there's going to be such a big payoff, and then just no one even tries. So I don't even actually remember what the true form is. So I'm sure someone will play it against some ladder. But yeah, like I said, I have not seen this card once. I forgot that this card existed. Not gonna lie. Next, we've got a shell game. Get a random epic, rare, and common class from other cards. This card was so bad at 3 mana. It's probably still bad at 2 mana, but you know, at least it's a little bit less. So we have the buffs that are marginal cards, things like Erzite, things like Rodden, things like Poe, Pip, that are even at least where it's not that good was seeing play. Where we have buffs that I don't think are going to matter because they're just cards that were really bad before, and now they're just moderately bad. So next we've got the Barrel of Sludge stuff. So now when this card is played or discarded, just deal 4 damage lowest attack mini. So it's stronger, way stronger as a discard, but it costs more from your hand, which is a negative in that. But same thing, and this one's the opposite, where it's better as a played card but worse as a discard card. Though interesting, if you're playing Fire Druid, this would be because that's the only time I've played this card is when you get it randomly. Even though that card, this card was kind of effectively nerfed for Fire Druid, but it's already getting banned. But then they upgraded Pop Guard the Putrid, so now your Sparrow Sludge still costs 1 mana, but now they can deal 4. I was already playing Pop Guard the Putrid in my Highlander Warlock list, and I really liked this card. I think this is going to be the fact that you can store a bunch of other fell spells as well. I think that could be quite good. So I'm looking forward to some of these ideas. I think these are actually quite matter. Now maybe it takes a 47% win rate deck and makes it a 49% win rate deck. Maybe the deck is not good enough to begin with. But bottom line is I think this is something to be paying attention to. Ma and Pa up to a 2/8. Really this card was kind of I wasn't sure what the buff was be. So it's it's good. 482 is good stats. But that being said, do you want to be playing the red-green combo? Probably not. So I think the biggest problem with this card, if I would totally run this card in Blood Death Knight. So this good card is going to be a really good discover now, but it's just still probably not good enough to justify the red-green archetype. But if you're playing Blood Death Knight and you ran RNG into this, you can plop this down on 4. This could deal with an entire board of 2 health minions. They have to all traded. So I think this is quite a good card that won't see play because of the rune requirement. Cinematic Necrotic Explosion, its base power level got stronger. You could see on it initially, I still think this card stinks. We're going to go next. It's still going to be bad. Corpse Bride now could have spent up to 10 corpses instead of 8, so quite useful for, you know, for this kind of archetype. But that being said, this card will be really even more bust in Arena, but still probably bad overall. Next, we've got Karsgaroth up to a 4/5. Finally doesn't die to bees, dude. Got his bee shot. I think the fact that you know, the 1 health actually does matter for a lot of situations. This card was already like on the margin good for a lot of warrior, but now it's going to be a little over the margin, which I think is good. I think Titans should be strong. They shouldn't be like, oh, do I even run the Titan? The fact that so many lists don't run the Titan, where that's the whole flavor of the expansion, I think is bad. So the fact, you know, some warriors cut the Titan, I think is bad. So I think making it just a little bit stronger, a good choice. That being said, Slug Ball, the Slumbering, now it's Excavate for 6 turns. Still terrible, but you know, give it charge or something. Something, you know. I want to see the charge. So I don't know. And then finally, we've got the Horseshoe Slinger, quick draw, deal 2 damage to its neighbors and random enemy, quick draw and to its neighbors. You know, I think this, but it's at less stats. I mean, it's easier to play, but like I just still think, you know, this is not going to be anything special. So those are my reactions to the nerfs and buffs. I really like them. I'm really looking forward to them. I think they're going to matter. I think they open up some new opportunities. So I'm going to be having fun playing on the ladder. A lot of I really, you know, sometimes I don't like the changes, but I think all these changes have a good logic to them, make sense, and some really, you know, my favorite one is this Azure Scorpion. I mean, this just the flavor and this card makes sense now, where before it just didn't make sense. So anyways, I'll see you guys on the ladder.